Hello, friends. Welcome to the second episode of the Invincible Talks. I am Neelam Kumar, your host and the author of this book. So, why Invincible Talks? Because this is my tiny effort to battle the grimness of the pandemic with some sunshine, positivity, courage, and most importantly, hope. Um, Keeping short attention spans in mind, I do try to keep the invincible talks short and powerful. There are no stories here, just brave, powerful ones. And as you can see, there are no fancy studio lights. There is no background score. So, what I bring for you is a heart to heart conversation with warriors, real life warriors who have been through the worst adversity. And today, they jump every Friday on this page, they jump out of the pages of my book and share their story of invincibility and leave us with a lot of precious life lessons. So, friends, how would you feel if one day you woke up and suddenly found that your trembling fingers can't hold even a glass of water, that your arms have become useless appendages, that your legs refuse to support you? Well, let me guess, many of us would cry and weep and blame and say, why me? But not a warrior tonight. Ram Gopal Valat's life has seen dizzy highs and dramatic lows, but out of the dark tunnel of the painful journey of autoimmune disorder, guess what he has come out as? He has come out as a positivity transfusionist. So let's hear his story. Welcome, Ram Gopal Valat. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, Neelam. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to the show. Thank you so much.
I feel like a Mahabharata warrior who has just jumped out of the book and come here.
Actually, you are. You are. Um, so tell us, is it okay if I call you Ram Ji instead of that would be Ramayan?
Ramji by all my friends. The G is for Gopal. It is not for respect. If you want to respect me, you can call me Ramji Ji, but Ramji is okay.
Okay, great. So, Ramji, your story, your life story is a perfect before and after tale. So, can you tell us something about it?
Yeah. So, Neelam, the one thing I've figured out in life is that there is actually in life, there is no such thing as before and after. Huh? Because whatever I am today is a sum total of all that experiences that I have gone through and all that I have done in life.
Mm-hmm.
It is very difficult to actually cut it into two parts saying this is after and this is before, because everything really builds on itself. It's a continuum.
Yeah.
However, if you were to look at the initial part of my life and the later part, and somebody with a conventional lens would look at it, they would say that the first part was awesome and the second part is a little fuss. However, that's not the real story. The real story is that the second part is more awesome than the first.
Oh my goodness.
And that is what I want to bring out, right?
Uh-huh.
So the first part of my life actually went like a rocket. Coming from a very small village school, I managed to, and Malayalam medium school with about 20% pass percentage. That's the kind of a school I was in. From there, I managed to get into IIT Madras with a rank, very all India rank close to 100.
IIT.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow.
life was awesome. And except for a small glitch in IIT, where, I ended up doing a 5-year BTech instead of a 4-year BTech, uh, primarily because, a lot of camaraderie happened and little excessive spirituality happened. But of course, I tell everybody that it's because I love my subject so much that I decided to stay for 1 extra year and study hard. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, by the way. Except that particular glitch. Then I did my MBA after that and got into corporate career. And my career really took off. In a matter of 10 years, I became the chief operating officer or head of a telecom circle.
Wow.
And that's a dream come true. At 34, I was one of the youngest chief operating officers in a telecoms industry in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I had arrived in life. So that's really the before part of it.
And okay, we'll get to your after. Or why don't you tell us the after also right now?
Right. So, when you have these fantastic achievements, you also build dreams. And I had this awesome dream that by the age of 45, I wanted to become the global CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed quite easy. 10 years, I have already reached this level, another 11 years to go.
Yeah.
But it's when you have these great dreams that sort of fate comes behind you and gives you one tong on the head,
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the tong happened as a slight tremor in my fingers every time I tried to pick up something, and a little bit of loss of balance every time I tried to climb up or down steps.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea what is wrong. So I started consulting doctors, and nobody could really identify what is the problem. So I kept on at it, and I was doing some extremely intense jobs. And at the age of 41, about 7 years later, it was sort of inexorably and slowly the condition was worsening. And at 41, actually, I had a viral fever. And the fever completely spiked this condition. And I found myself unable to lift my hands or legs, even 1 centimeter. I couldn't keep my eyelids open because they were drooping by themselves. I had no control. And my voice started piping. I couldn't speak. And that's when I was wheeled into the hospital. And the doctors could figure out that I had an autoimmune disorder. In an autoimmune disorder, typically what happens is your own immune system starts attacking your body. So in my case, this stupid idiot immune system was attacking my peripheral nerves. So nerves of my hands and legs, and the nerves were becoming destroyed. That in turn was ensuring that the muscles did not get any impulses from the brain, and the muscles had wasted away. So most of my fine motor muscles in my hands and legs had already wasted away. But luckily, then the doctors put me on a medication. It was 6 days of intravenous fluid, which went into my body, some 38 bottles. And at the end of 6 days, I was feeling much better. In 10 days, I was feeling awesome. And I started running up the 9 flights of stairs to my office. I could play cricket with my kids. I could cook for them. And life was back to normal. And within 45 days, the condition came back worse than what it was. So this is when the doctor said, you have to keep taking this intravenous immunoglobulin, it's called. And each dose was 6 lakh rupees. So can you imagine every 2 months or 45 days putting 6 lakhs rupees into your body? I couldn't do that. I didn't afford it. So I started taking steroids, which had a whole lot of other side issues. I put on about 16 kilos weight. My eyesight started blurring because steroids put some kind of a deposit in the lens, in the eyes. And in spite of all this, my condition was worsening. So I would keep tripping and falling. I could barely stand without holding something. I couldn't type. And I had to travel extensively as a director of operations of a company. And when I would travel, I had to put on a formal shirt. And it would take me 90 minutes to put on the 6 buttons of my shirt.
I know you've written that, you've shared that with me, and it's all in the book. How did it, can we hear the end of the recovery? How did you get recovered?
So I think the most important part was that I told myself that whatever happens, I'm not going to sit around and say, why did this happen to me? Rather than I would focus on the positive. I would focus on what can I do?
Right.
And I would take on additional responsibilities and take on a lot of stuff. And I really kept myself motivated because of that. I said that any room I walk into, I want the room to feel a little more positive because I'm there.
How lovely.
I would crack a joke, usually at my own expense, and
Ah,
people would anyway laugh. And I would laugh with them. I would feel happier. They would feel happier. At home, I would tell my kids lots of wacky stories and they would laugh. I would laugh. So I always laugh the loudest at any of my jokes, by the way. That makes me feel awesome.
well,
So,
yeah, sorry. Yeah, about the awesome, I wanted to ask you another question. Please go ahead.
so this is how I kept myself positive. And at work, I just kept on taking on additional responsibilities. And I was really doing very well at my work. And yeah, that's how I kept myself positive at that time.
Wonderful. Ramji, you have very famously said that I am awesome. I'm the most positive person I know. Can you elaborate on this statement, please?
Yeah, so that's a statement of fact, by the way.
Mhm.
So,
Very good.
so how did it happen? So, uh, by the way, that was when I was feeling really again on top of the world, in spite of all these conditions, taking on responsibilities, etc. Fate came behind me once more with another tonk on the head. I got sacked from my job.
Yeah. So may I intervene just 1 minute? Because you shared with me, Ramji, that you were a top performer in your organization. And just when your medical bills mounted to 20 lakhs, you got sacked. So how did you handle that kind of stress? So that, you can tell our viewers how to handle stress of that magnitude. Yes, please.
So this happened on a Monday morning, and I had actually written on my Facebook saying, looking forward to another great week at work. And then I reached my office. The first call was from my boss. She was in Singapore. She was director of Asia Pacific. And the call was to tell me that I'm being sacked. And it was a very, very unfair thing to do because I was being sacked for something which is an unethical practice somebody 4 levels below me had done. And I was the one who was fixing the issue, but it put the company at risk, so they wanted to show an example by sacking the senior most guy in the organization.
Mhm.
So I actually sat in that room after receiving the call and I cried. I cried for about 5 minutes. And then I started thinking, how do I now fix the issue? The most important thing about handling crisis is that you should first accept it. This is reality. Now, how do you maximize reality? How do you maximize the moment? And I asked myself what to do. I couldn't walk in for an interview. I couldn't walk, right? I was on crutches and nobody would give me a job in that condition. But I knew that I had some enormous strengths. I'm a very operationally very strong. I had fantastic domain knowledge. I had great network. So I called up 2, 3 of my friends who had started startup companies, and they desperately wanted somebody like me to come in at a senior level.
Wow.
And by the end of the day, I had 2 jobs in hand.
Wow. That's so
Instead of
wonderful.
wallowing in self-pity, I decided that I need to look for a solution.
Yeah.
That really helped.
That's so wonderful. So when an adversity strikes or when a stress of this magnitude comes, we have to be not problem oriented, we have to be solution oriented. That's what you're saying. So now if you can please tell us, Ramji, about how you really rebuilt, rebooted your life and also about your future plans, because you've done some wonderful initiatives. So can you share with us about those?
So after I got sacked, I was always constantly looking around for other ways to treat myself, my body. And I found a treatment in the US, a clinical trial. A doctor was conducting some totally different kind of trials to fix autoimmune issues. And I enrolled for it. I went there and they rebooted my body. Actually, they killed the entire immune system and restarted it using my own stem cells. So actually rebooting happened to the body.
Um,
And I came back and I told myself, I'm going to fix myself. So I
Wow.
actually wrote out a huge Excel sheet with 27 exercises to be done on a daily basis and 180 dates I put, the next 180 days. And for each day, for each exercise, I put a target. And every week the target would go up. And then I went about beating each and every target each and every day for the next 180 days. And the power it gave me, the feeling of I am in control. I am doing what I can to fix myself. And at the end of 180 days, I was so much better. 90% of my body recovered. I was able to walk 6 kilometers in about 70 minutes, which is not bad actually. And I almost 100%, 90% fixed my body back completely. But that is only one part of what I fixed. The real reinvention happened about what I wanted to do. I decided I don't want to get back into corporate career. And I had started writing a book from the hospital bed in Chicago. And I couldn't type, so I used voice to text software to do that. To the children's book, wacky science fiction. Then I started being invited. It got published and I started being invited to schools. And I converted these talks to science workshops. And then I was invited to corporates to deliver talks. And I became a keynote speaker.
Wow.
I must have addressed about 100 different audiences, more than 100,000 people.
Oh my gosh.
All the way going up to international audiences, Fortune 500 company, global leadership teams, to fifth grade students.
Fantastic.
And my aim is to touch 1 million lives positively.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will.
Yeah. So that is where I am now. My future plans is I want to continue on this pursuit of touching 1 million lives positively. And I keep figuring out, how do I do this? And the one thing that struck me is that if I can get children to become positive when they're growing up, and when they grow up, they become positive adults will spread more positivity and it'll cascade, and the whole of the country will become more positive if I can do something about it. Okay. And I always think big. So I've written a children's a parenting book called Active Parenting, which is getting published in the next 3 months. And that's about making children positive adults.
Ramji, positive nowadays has such a weird during the pandemic, but we don't need that positive. We need your brand of positive, Ramji. So tell us all about what would you say goes into a formula of becoming invincible?
So for each of us, there is a different method of doing it. I can share what I did to be positive, and I think it will work for almost everybody actually. First thing is, I always feel very, very grateful for what I have.
Grateful. Okay.
Yeah. So, I think of all the help that people have done for me. There's so many people who have reached out and helped me in so many ways, starting with, buttoning up my shirt to tying my shoelaces. Colleagues have done that. Wow. And people have invited me for talks or come and sat in the hospital with me, helped me in so many ways. There is no way I can return all that help to them, right? I cannot return the kindness. But one thing I can do is I can be kind and helpful to as many people as possible. So I've developed compassion as a method of helping as many people as possible and paying forward this gratitude which I have. And that has made me happy. Okay. The more compassion and gratitude you have, the happier you get. The second one is, I also tell myself that I need to have self-belief. To do that, I keep trying out new things and take on new responsibilities. I learn new skills to make that happen. And then I say, wow, what an awesome guy I am. Every day I sit back and say, I'm so awesome. Okay. Yes. I'm amazed at my awesomeness.
That's so wonderful.
And the other one is, sorry.
No, I was just trying to summarize that. You said gratitude, self-belief, and what else did you say?
Then the next one is
compassion.
Compassion. And then there is ownership. So basically what I do is I always have a purpose in mind. Mm-hmm. For whatever I start off, there is a big goal which I set for myself. Then I break it down to strategies. And then I decide that for today, what is it that I need to do to reach closer to that goal? And whatever target I set for myself today, I will ensure that I do that target. So I feel awesome. And the last secret formula is sense of humor.
I agree. Yes.
You always have a nice laugh.
Absolutely.
Especially at yourself. Okay. Absolutely. the more you laugh at yourself, the more easier you are to connect with people. They love you. You feel wonderful. And then smile at as many people as possible. A smile actually releases so many feel-good neurotransmitters into your brain. You'll feel wonderful. That's my secret, So I tell everybody, and the last two lines and this is from your book actually, the same, the Invictus. Invictus means the invincible. And the last two lines is, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Like that, all of you are the masters of your fate. And that's what I tell everybody.
That's so empowering. Absolutely, absolutely, Ramji.
I have one more formula for staying positive.
Yes.
Read.
Yes, that's important.
Read Neelam Kumar's I Am Invincible. It's a book with 13 awesome stories. Okay. And I really suggest that all of you read it. It's got my story and many other stories like that. It's available in Amazon, all kinds of online outlets, as well as in many of the leading book outlets. So do that and wish you all the best. Thank you, Neelam.
Thank you, Ramji. You have filled us with so much of positivity and hope. We are feeling awesome after listening to your awesome talk. So I'm sure everyone watching this show tonight will try their hardest now to turn every downturn in life to a brilliant upturn, just like our guest tonight, our warrior, Ram Gopal Velat. Stay blessed, Ramji. Thank you so very much for coming on this show. And viewers,
thank you so much. And thank you everybody for listening to me.
Thank you, Ramji. Viewers, next Friday, I bring you another awesome warrior. You know who she is? She is a small package of sheer awesomeness. So Friday, April 23rd, right here, same time, same place. Join in and get your vaccine of invincibility. Thank you so very much for joining me on this show. Thank you, everyone.